What's up, guys? Welcome in. What's up? What's up, everyone? Welcome, welcome. Wow, first try connecting. How about that?
First time ever. Instagram live for me. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you're doing better than the last like five because we've had technical issues every time. So good to
That's
see you,
awesome.
man.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll wait just a minute, let some people roll in. Well, guys, really excited to have you guys here and excited to have our guests for today. We love doing our Instagram lives. Get a bunch of people rolling in here. We've got one of our, I'd say, longtime members for sure. I think you'd qualify as a longtime member, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
His name's Eli, and he has a pretty cool trading journey with us at UET, and we're excited to spend some time hearing his story. These Instagram lives are much more about the guests I bring on than about me. Most people have heard my whole thing, so really excited to chat with you. Thanks for spending time out of your day and joining us for this Instagram live. And yeah, it's good to see you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm more nervous for this than anything else. This is more nerve wracking than first candle, right? Uh,
Hear that,
Glad to
guys?
be here.
Public speaking more difficult than trading and more scary. Which,
Not my
you
sales
know,
guy, right? It's the Instagram. Yeah.
I get it. No, and that's there's I think there's a lot of truth to that when you get to the point when trading becomes, comfortable. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are more stressful for sure.
For sure.
Well, let's go ahead and start out again for everyone hopping on here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're living right now, things you like to do, but also kind of your experience work wise, right? Like what you've done for your career, and then ultimately what got you interested in trading, and then we'll kind of we'll stop at that point. But yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself and what was appealing about trading when you didn't when you weren't trading, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say I'm a normal guy. I'm 38. I've got a family. I've got three kids. I live in Hilton Head, South Carolina. Um, I've always been a sales guy based in engineering, really. I was an introvert. So I'm very much on the introvert side of sales. And now I run a team for a software company. Don't know how I got there. Never was qualified, I think, but I keep working hard at it. And that's the nature of it. For me, getting into trading, I had a friend who was very successful with options, but on like that monthly time frame, right? He was
Uh-huh.
using it to acquire stocks or to reduce his cost basis. And I tried that, and it took so long to make any money. I
Yeah.
didn't have the capital. I didn't have the things I needed to be successful. And I followed you for probably a year and a half. You probably don't even know this, but I actually signed up for like one of the very first masterminds, and I got real scared and I backed out. And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know if it's for me."
Funny.
And I probably watched for another year before I finally committed. And I was like, this is the right path. I watched so many people get success. Like now I'm behind. I'm a year behind of where I would have been. And I jumped in probably 3.5 years ago, something like that. And,
Cool.
the appeal was I work every day, man. It's not clock in, clock out, but it's an effort. And if it ever becomes something I can pull away, fantastic. And if it can and it's just extra, that's fantastic too. But stability, something I could teach my kids. I don't want my kids to do the same old everything
Yeah.
and again clock out. So that's what got me interested.
That's awesome. And it's funny when you have kids, you kind of start thinking through things, right? And you think about like the way you grew up or the way that you learned, way that
Yeah.
you started, the path. And it's like, yeah, some of that good, want to replicate that. A lot of it, it's like, want to avoid that, go the complete
Yeah.
opposite direction of that. So how many kids do you have?
I've got three. I've got a 14, 12, and a 4-year old. You can imagine how
Awesome.
how that played out. But
I bet that's awesome. Well, I'm familiar with that age. I've got a 3.5 year old and a 7 year old, so I know just that age, and it's exciting. Keeps you on
yeah.
your toes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So yeah, no, and what's great about Eli, you guys, is he's been, a UET member for a long time now. He's been active, he's been engaged, always had a great attitude, right, throughout all communication within the chat, within the group. So kind of tell me when you first started trading, what happened? Was it immediate success? Was it a lot of, back and forth? Did you have ups? Did you have downs? Was it just really horrible? Like, kind of for those, who maybe are thinking about starting this journey, or those who are on their journey, comparing, where they're at when they started. Yeah, how did it start out, compared to I guess where you are now? What was that first initiation like getting into day trading?
It was I tried to actually listen and apply. I really
Hmm.
did.
Hmm.
I know everyone probably says that, but I remember the very first class that I took, and you were teaching, and you said, this is what's going to happen over the next several weeks. And I believed it. I said, okay, that's going to happen. And then somewhere in the beginning, even though you told me it would happen, I
Hmm.
did become the guy. Like, I fell for everything. Everything you told me not to fall for, I fell for. And it was at least easier then to come back and be like, okay, he told me I would do that. I did that. So there's definitely some stages. It wasn't instant success for me, and it was for some. People I started with just like skyrocketed, and it didn't for me.
Hmm.
And there were these kind of moments that defined the next stage of my learning, I would say. And once I realized, okay, this is a long haul thing. This isn't an overnight thing. This is something I have to practice. This is something I've got to kind of daily meditate on and work towards. That helped a lot. But the first big, I'd say, moment was I finally understood what you meant by jazz music,
Mm-hmm.
because I was looking for that silver bullet. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to do everything exactly perfect right. As soon as this happens, I do this. And that was one of the first moments early on for me that made me better. But it was a 2 year grind for me to get to
Hmm.
where I saw the consistency that I was comfortable with to really start putting capital in.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
was,
let's
it
talk.
was, it was easy and hard at the same time, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. The concepts were so easy until I tried to do them consistently, and then they weren't.
What I tell people is when they ask, is day trading hard? I'm like, well, it's not hard. It's also not easy. It's frustrating. Day
Yeah.
trading is frustrating, right? It's almost like, hey, you make a free throw, you're gonna win, whatever, a free card at a game. It's like, well, there's a good chance you can make it, but again, unless you practice whatever, you're probably not going to, or when the pressure's on. And day trading really is just one of those frustrating skills because it does take time, right? So for those listening, you're talking to someone, right, who spent 2 years, right, after taking a really, in-depth education, really understanding the concepts, having it laid out perfectly. And I think a lot of people shy away from that, right? That type of time commitment towards something. But I've always viewed things, especially with time from logic's perspective, right? So you're 38, right? I'm 34, very similar in age, and I feel like we are, at a point in today's world, today's society, where a lot of people are comparing against each other, but also a lot of people look at life for what it is, right? At different times of human existence, right? We've had people who built the Egyptian pyramids because they were told to do so, right? And just that was their whole life, their whole mission. Well, now, right, in today's world, there's a lot of freedom, there's a lot of different paths to take, a lot of different ways to go, and I think a lot of awakening going on, right, where people are like, maybe I don't want to be doing this thing that I've been doing, right? Maybe there's a different way to approach things, but they're willing to spend so little time working towards that lifestyle or that
Yeah.
goal, right? That freedom. People will go to school for 4 years, no problem, right? But again, spending a couple years learning a skill set, a lot of people have a hard time doing. So 2 full years, I mean, that is a grind. For those who have, been in the trading space and not seeing consistent results, 2 months is a long time to be in that frame of mind. 2 years is a
Oh,
really long time.
and like I said, that's why I kind of started with I'm an everyday guy, because I watched people smarter and better than me hit consistency and hit profit so much faster than I did. But there was always something. It was almost like it was on the tip of my tongue or the tingle on your finger. Like it's like, it's there. I know it's there. And then there was this other side of it too, where it's like, this made me a better person. Like
Hmm.
the discipline in my life increased, the way my patience towards things increased, the effect that it had just outside of trading
Yeah.
was really, really profound for me. And there was moments where I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm not coming back to this. And then I did, and it's the best thing I ever did, for sure.
That's awesome. And before we get into your success and results, and that's where we're going for sure, I want to talk about, so you're 2 years in, not gaining the consistency. You're also seeing other people, right, in your same mastermind group or cohort that are finding success. What were, a few, you say kind of some of those like pinpoint or, some of those like key experiences that kind of change things? Maybe share one or two things that you help really define, the difference between when you started seeing that consistency and success versus when you were struggling. You kind of mentioned
Yep.
and touched on one, the jazz music.
Jazz music.
So feel free to elaborate on that or just kind of share, what that moment was where you started to see the consistency.
Yeah, jazz music is maybe one of the best analogies that's helped me trading. I use it with my team, so I have 25 people where I work. I use it with my team. It's like, hey,
Awesome.
this isn't something that's very binary and discrete. This is jazz music, guys. We've got to move. But that helped me really look beyond the analytical side of it. Right? Yes, it's technical analysis, and yes, there's strategies, but this is a story that's playing out in front of us, and that story can take a bunch of little different variables and variants to it, and you've got to be able to look at the big picture. So that was a huge moment. After that, I did see consistency, and this was part of the problem for 2 years. I would be consistent for months
Hmm.
and then just crash it, and I just kind of lose myself in the cockiness of I can't lose and all those sort of
Right.
things.
Right.
And every time I was about to really take that next step, ego got in the way and myself got in the way, and I would have to crash. So jazz music was huge to be able to adapt to those certain situations and say, this is the story of what's going on in trading. And a lot of the questions I get, because I do post, I'm so thankful for what your classes and what your program has done for me. I post when I post something, I always
Yep.
give you credit because you did that for me. But that means I get a lot of questions of what's your secret? What's
Yeah.
the one thing you do? It's like, there's not one thing I do, but I do have an answer. So one more thing for you, other than
Yes.
jazz
No,
music.
that's fantastic. That's
Um,
fantastic.
one more thing other than jazz music is get the hell out of the trade. What are you doing?
Hmm. Hmm.
When you hit stop loss, get out. And people's like, yeah, but it didn't break structure yet. It's like, yeah, but you've been trading a year. When you've been trading 5 years, talk to me about breaking structure. Until then, get out at 15%, get out at
Yeah.
10%,
Yep.
and just make it so automatic that as soon as it clicks, get out because there's another trade tomorrow. And that was me. That was the one that I struggled with the longest. And when that finally clicked, and I just let go of trying to get a profit and like
Mhm.
trying to be successful, and I was like, I'm going to do good trades. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do here. The profit came as a byproduct.
So
Um,
cool.
and that's what I tell everybody when they reach out. It's like, get out of the trade.
Yep.
And they never do. I always ask, are you getting out of the trade when you're supposed to? No. Then get out of the trade.
Yeah.
That's it. I really think if you just get out at stop loss, you could almost randomly enter. And as
Hmm.
long as you don't trade more than two trades a day, you're probably going to be successful.
Hmm.
But you got to get out.
100%. So, for those listening, I just got to reiterate because you just shared so much gold, right? So much gold. If anyone's trading right now or wanting to learn how to trade, so number one, right, the principle of jazz music and what we teach is that, there's classical music, which is every note's accounted for, right? It's very proper, equational, here, 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 here. Where jazz music, right? Piano man may go on some crazy riff and start going there. And then the bass player comes in, goes into a minor chord. Saxophone comes in, it's a completely different tempo, right? And so the ability to ebb and flow wherever the music's taking you, right? Different, right? And it's still structure, it's still, organized, not chaotic, but it is fluid. Um, but then also, right, talking about, the stop loss, I've always, taught, and this is such a great life principle. It's so cool you've been able to implement it so well, Eli, is whenever you want to be good at anything, you just have to become a really good loser, right? You have to be a good failure. And obviously, guys, Eli has experience in that in the sales world, right? Because what's
In
sales?
every
Sales.
aspect of my life, I have experience in that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And honestly, Eli, that is such a relatable thing. Who on planet Earth has not just gone through so many failures, so many heartbreaks, so many, oh my gosh, I got to start over, right? And so I think that the better you can become at losing, the less personal you take it, the more optimistic you can be through it, the more level headed and calm. Obviously, the results come because, like you say, there's always another trade. It's kind of how life is, right? There's always another day. There's always, the next attempt. So that is such a cool skill that you've acquired, not just for trading, but for your life. And I'm so happy to hear that that has, kind of translated into some of your day to day life, which is really cool. So now, kind of getting into the meat and potatoes. That's fantastic. Great answer. So what are some recent successes you've had as far as, cool milestones or, increasing a position size or, big profitable days, weeks, months, like really whatever you're, willing and open to share. I know people always
Yeah.
love to hear kind of success. But yeah, kind of tell us where things are at right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would love to be a $20,000 a day guy. I'm not. I never was. I never planned to be. I'm doing more than I ever thought I would, but I drifted at the $500 a day on average when you average it out
Hmm.
for a long time, and that's life changing money for a lot of
Yeah.
people. That's a whole lot of extra in my life specifically. And I was looking over the data. And just I was in TradeZilla, and I'm tracking in two systems right now. I'm tracking in
Hmm.
the hub, and then I'm also tracking in TradeZilla.
Awesome.
And I
Awesome.
was looking, and we had this moment where I did have a losing day.
Hmm.
And the next couple days, I think I told you one time, like I'll do a first candle for fun.
Hmm.
And I do a first candle, and I went and looked, and I was like, you know what? If I wouldn't have taken second trades on these last three first candles, I would
Hmm.
have like tripled in profit what my loss was before. And I was like, why why am I not playing to my strength? So I had this moment where I went back, I pulled all my data from the very
Hmm.
beginning. The strongest thing I have in trading is first candle.
Awesome.
Like last week, I was 4 or 5. This week, I'm 3 for 3. So
Cool.
it's and that's phenomenal for first candle
Yeah,
because I
it's
don't
really good.
expect that. I don't
It's
expect
really
that,
good.
and it won't last. It'll go away. But I'm so good at first candle. So I finally said, you know what? And my wife helped me. 100% confidence. Let's play to my strengths. I'm going to go full positions on first candle. I kind of created a strategy that works with my psyche, and I'm last couple of weeks averaging a couple $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
So to be able to have, today I was like, today wasn't a good day. I made $1,100. And a good day for me is it could be 3,000, it could be $6,000.
Hmm.
So that's crazy money, especially from where I grew up, what I came from, and perfectly happy there. I'm going to stay here for quite some time and just make sure I'm consistent. But that's my level of success at the moment, anyways.
I mean, let's just pause. I know everyone on the call we can't see, but let's metaphorically clap. That is absolutely fantastic. Just so, for those who aren't so good at math, myself included, run the numbers. There's 252 trading days in a year. Even at $2,500 average a day, it's a lot of cheddar, right? And what's cool about this, guys, is he's not trading on a futures prop firm account, right? This is in an options trading account. So this is real cold hard cash. No waiting for payouts. No, having to go through that process, which again, a lot of successful futures traders here at UET, we love futures, but this is cash where if he makes $1,100 today, guess what? He can withdraw that to his bank account tomorrow, which is one of the coolest parts about day trading is being able to pay yourself from the skill set frequently and regularly.
Yep.
I'm sure that has made your sales job. I remember when I, first started making, money in that realm and my sales job, I would think how long and how many people I'd have to talk to in the sales world to get that type of profit. It kind
Yeah.
of warps your brain a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah,
As
I
far as
mean,
money goes.
I definitely make more trading than I do sales job. I mean, what it takes 5 minutes, guys. Like it's
I
it's
know, I
five
know.
minutes, and I mean, I think I'm a little unique with some of the ways I trade. So my rule set's a little different. My and I also I don't know if punish myself is the right word, but if I break a rule, that next trade, that next day or whatever it is, I don't do a full position. I do
Yeah,
one contract and it's hardcore rules. So it's
cool.
whether it goes up or whether it goes down, in and out. And I either hold till profit, even if it goes all the way up within a tenth of a percent and comes all the way back down to loss,
Yeah.
I take the loss. But I have that kind of reset trade every now and then where it's just like, okay, my brain needs to process this way all the time.
Totally. And it's such a this is such a crazy skill and I I'm in the phase of my, I guess evolution. Every trader is constantly evolving, right? So I'm at the point now where I'm trying to, trade with other people's accounts connected. I'm trying to trade, with a new, system and process. And what's funny is trading really is it's a game that can be played but can never be won.
Yep.
Right? It's just like golf. It's just like some of the best things in life, right? It's like you can be really, really good at it, you can play it, but you'll never just beat it. You'll never master it. Like you say, every single day, you have to, be disciplined. You have to show up. You have to follow your rules. And if you don't, you still have things in place to make sure that you kind of keep yourself on track. So the other thing, guys, I just want to point out, obviously talking with Eli, his discipline, right? Very clear, very obvious. He has such a strict set of rules. Not only is he journaling and tracking his trades, he's doing so in two different platforms. So you can get coach reviews and feedback from Uncommon, but also, more in-depth detailed stats through TradeZella. It's really phenomenal to see. And I do want to point this out, credit to Eli as well. One of my favorite comedians, Seth Rogen, right? I think he's just phenomenal. I think he's hilarious. He's in some of like my favorite not childhood, but like as I've grown up in like junior high, high school age, the whole Pineapple Express era, that is just so good. And he just recently did an interview, and he, talks about how, his kind of blueprint to success. And he says, well, I know two things. He's like, I know that if you don't give up, you might succeed, right? He's like, doesn't mean you're going to, but like if you don't give up, there is a chance, like statistically, that you could succeed. And I know that if you don't try or you do give up, well, there is a 100% chance you won't succeed, right? And so he said, most of the time, he's like, the people in Hollywood, the people around me who are so successful, it's kind of just like these random lucky things where, they met someone here, they talked to this person there, got introduced at this event. But he's like, they just kept showing up. They just kept going and pushing. And if I could give any attribute to Eli, guys, just from me knowing him over the years within Uncommon, is yeah, it's just a crazy level of consistency, right? It's a crazy level of consistency. And it just goes to show how in such a short amount of time, right? We talk about how 2 years long time. That's a blip. It's not even a blip on the radar of your life. And now, right, I know he posts, some really cool stuff about paying for, some of the family vehicles. Like he says, he's making more, over this last stretch than he's making at his regular day job. And it's helped him become more disciplined and more, I'd just say better in your day-to-day life as a human. And that all comes down to you, right? So you always shout out credit to Uncommon, which we're always grateful for, but the credit really does come to you, Eli, because your consistency is what got you here, right? Yeah, we provide the playbook, we provide the setup, but how many people come through Uncommon and aren't where you're at right now, right? So that is huge credit to you. I just want to point that out. That level of consistency is it's no joke. So congratulations, man. Let's talk about kind of before we wrap up before some Q&A here. So if you guys have questions, feel free to start typing them in the chat. I'll read them off to you, Eli, as they come through. But just two last questions is I guess at this point where you're at, right, making the money you're making, right, anywhere from 1,000, 6,000 a day, somewhere in that realm, right? What would you, I guess, attribute, or what would you say is the best like daily thought that you have going into each day? I know every trader has a kind of a mantra, whether it's, who's in control, right, before the trade's taken, or
Yeah.
I'm confident, right, I'm the man, or, stop loss above all else, right? Everyone kind of has this mindset, this frame of mind going into each day. So what would you say your mindset, or maybe one thing that you, no matter what, every day, it's kind of crossing your mind either during a trade, before a trade, or as you're getting set up for the day?
Yeah, I do have one. And before you said that, I wouldn't have even known that maybe that's a common thing, but I do have one. And mine is in my head, my swing thought, if you will, my trade
Yes,
thought
yes.
is today's going to be a win-win. And what I mean is I either leave at take profit or I leave at stop loss. So I view getting out at stop loss as a win for the day.
Huge
Like,
win.
and it's funny how that switched, because I used to hold till 40% and then get out and just kick myself all day. And then now at 15%, I get out and I'm like, hell yeah, I did it. Like I got out. And
Hmm.
it's almost a little dopamine hit, right? Of like,
Oh yeah,
that's the rule. That's what I do. So for me, it's let's have a win-win.
I
Whether it goes
love
up,
that.
goes down, I win.
I love that. And what's cool is it is a win, right? In that phrase, win-win, as long as you either hold to take profit or you exit for your stop loss. So that's so
Yeah.
cool. I love that. And yeah, it actually is super common. It's a fun question I've been asking a lot of people lately, because I've realized everyone kind of has that swing thought, that trade thought, something kind of keeps them in the right frame of mind for the trades. And then lastly, Kay, and again, if you guys have questions, feel free to start, throwing them into the chat here. If not, we can start going over a bunch of questions on my end that I have for you. But anyone who is currently trading or on the fence wanting to learn to trade, right? What advice, what input would you have as someone who started out, like you say, very normal, very, average in your eyes, just kind of typical dude living in Hilton Head, which is such a cool place, by the way, so cool. But what would you say to someone who maybe was in your shoes before you started, right? Where you were gonna join, you waited a year. What advice now on this other side of things, knowing what you had to go through, what advice would you give to that person?
I would say, and I mean this honestly, I would say don't hesitate if you're willing to put the time in. It can't be a passive thing. It can't be a get rich quick. And to be honest, if I start thinking about the money, my success goes down. Like the profit is a byproduct of the strategies. It's a byproduct of the mindset. And if I start looking at what am I making today, I'm going to make a stupid choice there. So I would say if you're willing to put the time in, then don't wait any longer. Get started. I think I'm the extreme of how long it could take. Maybe it's the stubbornness, or maybe it's just I need some more IQ points. But so many people got successful faster, and I'm still in touch with them. And I'm a little jealous of where they're at. And but I stayed the course because it's me, and I focused on doing the right things and getting better. I tried to stay open minded and things like that. So I wouldn't wait because you're just going to be just like me a year later. Where am I going to be in a year?
Hmm.
That's where I probably would have been if I'd have started when I first had that inclination to do so.
I love that. And it's so funny. I think that's one of the most common things any successful person will tell you is don't wait, start now, right? It's never a good time. You're never going to be knowledgeable enough. You're never going to be well practiced enough, right? And obviously, you need to treat with respect. You don't just willy nilly say, all right, we're going to jump in and drop this much money and start, gunslinging in the market. No, but it means, hey, like, if you want to start changing your life, you want to start taking steps in the right direction, you got to start, right? And it's always going to be an inconvenience. It's always going to be tough, right? You got
Sure.
kids, you've got your job, you've got all these things. So again, what a great piece of advice, right? Don't hesitate. It's great advice even for trading, right? If you're struggling trading, don't hesitate, right? When you see
Especially first
something,
candle.
first candle, you can't
Yeah.
hesitate. Truly, you can't hesitate.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. I have a bunch of questions too that we had a few people message in who weren't going to be on this call. So a few questions. What so obviously first candle strategy, that was a big one. What strategy you like to trade? Contracts. Are you trading next day, same day, weekly? What contracts are you trading?
Yeah, I mean, I try to trade zero DTEs. That's what I try to do most of the time. Sometimes you have to go to that next day or something like that. But I even filter mine so I can only see those because I have a bad habit of accidentally getting one down below. And it's like, why isn't this moving? Shit, I screwed that up.
Yep.
So I mostly trade zero DTEs or next day
Cool.
contracts. Yeah.
Perfect. Stocks. Do you have any special stocks? Are you blue chip? What stocks are you trading?
I don't know what it is, but there's just certain stocks that I can see and certain that I can't. So
Yeah.
I love Spine QQQ, but
Mhm.
but I almost start the day almost I start the day every day with Apple on my left and Nvidia on my right, and that's what I
Awesome.
play first candles on. If I don't get a first candle or something like that, then I start looking at a few others. I typically go straight to Spine QQQ, but I'll
Cool.
glance at Google, I'll glance at Amazon, I'll glance at Tesla, but those tend to get wicky, especially
Yep.
over like the last 6 months. So when there's a bunch of big wicks, my brain stops working. I can't really function in that environment, so I get out. I don't like that.
Mm.
But I would say those are pretty normal stocks for people to trade. But yeah, I start every
Awesome.
day. Apple and Nvidia.
So nothing crazy, right? And that's what's so funny. It's like you say, everyone always is looking for the secret silver bullet. It's usually like, yeah, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of discipline, holding the take profit, stop loss. I love that. Okay, other questions is so obviously you know a lot about your trading, right? You're talking about you don't like wiki environments. You're talking about specific stocks that you like. How are you tracking these things? Are you journaling where you are like writing out like literally like a journal entry, things that you're noticing? Are you just tracking data points? Kind of elaborate on that. Or do you just have like a crazy memory that you just kind of store everything, in your head? What's your process there?
So I'm probably not best practice. I would say that. I would recommend to anyone journal everything, write it
Hmm.
down. Maybe stay away from your feelings of I felt like it would go up. Don't
Right.
write that stuff down.
Right.
But I would say journal everything, but it has a negative effect on me.
Hmm.
So if I analyze every day, my psyche gets off. It throws me off. My confidence is hurt because I can always find something wrong. That's just kind of how I am. So
Sure.
what I do is I go in batches. I look back week by week. So I
Awesome.
collect the data. I don't go in and assign strategy or nothing. I just let it collect. And then every week I go back and I look at it as a big picture. What went well, what didn't go well. And I over a week I can kind of remember why I did certain things. Like
Sure.
Today, no surprise, I had a little bit of a lower day because I opened Thinkorswim 2 minutes before the market, and I shouldn't have done that.
Sure.
I was in a meeting. I tried to rush it. Bad. So this week, that's what I'll look at. It's like, hey, look at how this affected. I need to make sure I get here in time.
Hmm.
So that's me. I'm not a heavy analytical
No,
journal
that's
guy.
perfect. I love that. And I love the batch. I've never thought about that. That's even new for me. Because it kind of takes the pressure off of the individual trade, lets you kind of just freely trade, you're viewing things in days and weeks. So we teach that. Why not in the journaling sense too? That's brilliant. I love that. Very, very cool.
Well, and I think
Go
what
ahead.
drove that for me was I'm very sensitive to price action. Like I know
Wow.
we've got our levels and stuff like that, but I've just learned to trust how price action moves. And
Hmm.
I think that's why I'm good at first candle is I'm seeing that live in real time. But if you go back and look at that, and you trade pretty heavy off of price action, everything looks wrong. Like you should
Yeah.
have waited, you should have done this. So in the moment, I feel like I still make the right decision.
Live price action is completely different than going and back testing price action or analyzing, what you're seeing, after the fact. No, I love that. Again, guys, few other people rolling through. If you guys have any other questions you want to ask Eli, trading life or otherwise, you're getting a bunch of people sharing congrats with you and they're stoked for your success. I had two other questions, and then again, any others that come through. So, what's the goal, right? What's the goal for Mr. Eli? You've got some awesome traction. I can tell you that it's not luck. It's not a magic stretch that's going to run out. Again, you've been consistent with that $500 profit realm for a while. You've been consistent at your learning process over 2 years. You do implement and make changes. Again, I see your trade reviews that come through, and you are following that process of now increasing position size and seeing that success. So what's the ultimate goal? Like a perfect world, 3 years from now, Eli, with this skill set, where do you want to be? Is it kind of that high dollar amount? Is it total freedom, autonomy? Like what drives you? What's the goal with this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a family guy, right? So I have big goals of how stable, how safe, how protected do I want my family to be financially. So that's definitely a major driver for that. But I've learned the hard way that I just can't put any expectations into the dollar that I get out of it. So even with this last position size that I increased, I went back through and made sure that with my multiple screens and stuff, I can't see any dollars. I'm
Yeah.
just going to be trading. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to think about it and try to remove myself. Long term, I mean, I don't know that I'm ever the guy to play really big
Yeah.
numbers,
And to be
but
fair, you're playing very big, right? Like I don't want to take away from that at all. What you're experiencing is massive, right? Anything with four figures in profit is crazy, and then you start getting the $2,000-3,000 profit. That's wild. So I just want to make sure he is not trading small by any means. This is like the 1% of the 1%. So sorry, but
yeah, I mean, I'm
continue.
trading anywhere from 6, 7 to $10,000 position. So yeah, I mean, I would like to do that for a really long time.
Yeah,
Um, I can't imagine that I need to go higher than that.
you don't.
If if it gets to a point where maybe I want to try something for fun every now and then, maybe we do that. But no, I'm happy there. My big next step is I want to teach my kids how to trade.
Yeah,
That's what I want to do. That's the goal that's in my head is even maybe I get hit by a random golf ball and I can't trade anymore. I want my kids to be able to do that, and I want them to learn early so it's easier for them because they can pick it up so fast. These 18, 19-year-old kids that's trading
no,
online
for
I
sure.
watch sometimes, or just watching Jaden. Jaden's like a million times better of a trader than I am, and his discipline, is incredible. So I'd love for my kids to pick that up,
Awesome. No, I
and they're going to
love
go through
that.
the program. They're going to join Mastermind. They're going to do it.
Hell yeah. Well, I can't wait. Can't wait for have them to be a part of it. It is a family affair with a lot of people here at Uncommon. We have a lot of like, parent, child combination. We have a lot of siblings that do it together. It's really cool. And I love that that's your driving force. And I can tell you this, Eli, is the difference between making $3,000 to $5,000 a day and making $10,000 to $15,000 a day is just more problems and more stress. there's no,
I feel you.
there's really nothing good that comes after a certain threshold, right? Especially where you're talking like you're not trying to go, buy the newest, the newest Bugatti that comes onto the scene. You're not out,
No,
dropping 20,000 at the strip clubs out there in South Carolina, like some of these traders online do, right? It's like, no, he's a
no,
family guy. Like, that's not real life. That's not what people do.
yeah.
And goodness gracious, even like you say, even $500 a day is life-changing money. And I'm just so happy to see people win who deserve to win, because there's a lot of people in this life who win, who you're like, man, I don't know their backstory, but it doesn't seem like they kind of are deserving of such a life, and life's just kind of random like that. Life is jazz music in a lot of ways, but you do just love to see someone like you who's put in the time, put in the effort, has all the right driving force behind what you're doing, succeed and start to win. That's what it's all about. So really, really happy for you there. So impressed with, again, the consistency. And for anyone listening to this, Eli did start out just like anyone else, right? Trying to get things figured out, trying his best to follow the rules and discipline, going through long spells of inconsistency and lack of success. But again, coming back to the Seth Rogen quote, right? As long as you don't quit, there is a chance for you to succeed, right? You have a chance.
Yeah.
And more times than not, when you believe something, and that's the other thing I've noticed, right, is your confidence in yourself and just the way you talk about things. Like, I am good at the first candle strategy, right? I am good at my stop loss. You reward yourself with your stop loss, right? You say, yeah, like, I exit where I was supposed to. That's a win. That's just the mentality of a winner, right? You'll win everything in life with that type of mindset, which is really, really cool.
Well, and to share real quick,
Yes, please.
if someone doesn't believe that I'm just an everyday guy doing this, I made payments to get into the mastermind
That's
program.
right. That's
I didn't
right.
have the money, right? I mean, I made some payment, and it's not even expensive,
Yeah.
and I made payments, and man, I'm so glad I made payments, right?
Jeez, dude, how cool is that?
I'm so glad that you even offered that. So, and at the time, I don't think you did, to be honest, Jeremy. I think
Yeah,
that came later. I think y'all
I think
did
it was.
later, but yeah. I mean, to go from there to yeah, well, maybe I could just pay for a couple of people to go through now. I guess yeah, I want them to experience it. That's so huge.
What a cool story. What an absolutely remarkable story. And I know everyone who's been listening in, and we share these and chop these up and run them as ads, and a lot of people get to see them, which is really cool in the coming days and weeks. I think people are going to love to see, right, the humility you have towards this, but also the confidence, right? And that's kind of where we'll end things tonight, guys, is with Eli. If I could give an attribute, right? Obviously that consistency that comes with it, but a lot of people are consistent at things for a very long time and never make progress. And so you can tell if someone, is humble or has humility, if they're consistent at something and they are making progress, right? And that's the difference, is you have to be willing to look yourself in the eye and be like, hey, you big dummy, you made a mistake. Don't do that again. Or, hey,
Yeah.
that's on you, right? You misread that. Like, you woke up late. You did whatever it is, right? But most people, what is it? It's the opposite. Oh, this environment was tough. Or, oh, it's because of that. Or, oh, it's because of this, right? Totally shirking responsibility. So again, I commend you on that. You have a lot of um, really desirable traits that I think are things that people will be able to learn from. So thank you for sharing those and sharing your story and getting a little bit of a peek into your life and what's helped you find success.
Absolutely.
Very last thing, and then we'll close it off here. I know the NBA finals are starting here and want everyone to be able to enjoy their evening. But again, final words, your kids, right? People who come up to you, what is it about trading that you would share or say, if they say, hey, like, what is it that you love so much about trading? Or what is it that does it for you trading? Like, what is the driving force between waking up doing this every day? Yeah, like what does trading mean to you in that regard? I think everyone's different, right? Some people it's money, it's the freedom, it's the mastery, right? But yeah, for you, what is trading to you, and what is,
Yeah.
I guess, your favorite part about this incredible skill?
Yeah, I mean, the money's fantastic, right? You
Of
can't ignore
course.
the money. The
Of
money's
course.
fantastic. But it's one of the only things I've ever done where I feel like I get better every day.
Hmm.
I either get better or I learn something about myself, and whether that hurts and doesn't feel like getting better, it's still getting better. So it's this self improvement. It's this look within yourself, within your mental state, your psyche, how you approach, and then it sets the tone for the day. Like it's part of me now to a point
Mhm.
where when it doesn't happen, it's I missed a workout.
Yeah.
I missed spending time with my. It's important for me, and it's a period of self reflection and ability and awareness to just get better. And it's much more than money, but man, that money's good too.
I love that, and to say that that's not a driving force. I mean, that's
Of
just
course it
not
is.
simply not true. So
Yeah.
I appreciate being honest there, but again, I love the idea of progress. I think a lot of people feel stuck, right? I think a lot of people go through life, they kind of get their job, they get their kids, they get their family, they get the car, the house, and it's just kind of like, well, now what, right? Like what's next? And you just like it's almost like every day is just like this Groundhog Day, right? And I think what's fun about trading is like you say, it's dopamine, it's adrenaline, it's discipline, it's a game, it's competitive, it's improvement, it's all these things first thing to start out your day. Like, don't you think that your day is going to go better if that's how you're starting every day, as opposed
Yeah.
to rolling out of bed, you know, grabbing a diet soda or a cup of coffee on your way out the door, an
Uh,
energy drink. It's man alive, and don't get me wrong, I love a good beverage, but when you're starting out with that level of discipline and kind of commitment to something, you're just ready to crush the day. You're just ready
Absolutely.
to attack the day. So
Absolutely.
I love that. That's really cool. Well, hey, Eli, it's been an absolute pleasure again from someone in my position who truly in a million years never thought that he would be chatting to new friends across the country who are changing their lives for the better because of this silly game that we play as day traders in the stock market. Very, very humbling for me. I've learned a lot on this call, and it's been really cool to see. So I appreciate all that you've done. Again, the continual support for the community, and again, more than anything, just want to wish you the absolute best and a huge congratulations, man. Seriously, I'm so happy for you, and it couldn't be happening to a better dude, for real.
Thank you. Thank you for everything, Jeremy. The program's incredible. Thank you.
Awesome. Of course, dude. Okay, guys. Well, if you have any other questions, you can feel free to message. As you know, he is, Eli is someone who posts regularly about us. We'll post this to our page, our story. We'll tag him in it so you guys can contact him if you have any questions.
Yeah.
If he says that, hey, just go talk to Jeremy. If he gets sick of talking to you, then stop talking to him. But no, he's a great example of what consistency and hard work can do. If you guys need anything from me or have questions for me, again, at Uncommon Education Trading or at Jeremy Lieber or at The Real Trader Jeremy. Our whole business on Instagram, so we've got a lot of backup accounts now. We've run into some of those issues in the past with people, or things happening within the meta ad account space. So we've got multiple accounts, but overall, I wish you all the best. And again, hopefully you guys can learn from Eli what it takes to get to this point, and it's nothing crazy. It's consistency, it's belief, it's confidence, it's trusting a process, and it's just putting in the time. And I love that he said that anyone who wants to learn the skill set and is willing to put in the time can achieve, whatever goals they have with it. So, all right, Eli. Well, thanks a bunch, man. I'm going to let you go. Thank you for everyone tuning in. We'll be reposting this and I'll tag you in this. Eli will also get in touch with you. We're going to send you a huge swag kit, some of the new uncommon swag that we have. We do that with our Instagram Live guests. So we'll get in touch with you there. But, dude, really happy for you. Keep up the good work and we'll be in touch. All right.
Thank you, sir.
All
Bye.
right. Thanks, Eli. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.